favorite sports is kiteboarding. As a kiteboarder, I know what it means to focus on the core. You strap a small board to your feet, you climb into a harness with a large kite. You can't control the wind, but you can ride it if your core is strong enough to maintain the balance and harmony with the wind and the water. To me, that's a good analogy for what we continually face in our profession. External forces change the landscape seemingly overnight, and we ride that constantly changing wind. I was very fortunate at a young age to determine my path, what came natural for me, that I really enjoyed doing, that I felt like that I could do for an entire career. My mother owned and managed 2 businesses when women didn't really do that. When I got bored during a particularly heavy season of snow in Kentucky, how many snowmen can you build? How many days can you sleigh ride? I needed a job, and I told my mom I want something different to do. And so she pulled out the old manual ledgers and showed me how to record cash receipts and cash disbursements and how to spread them across the page, and when you added them this way and you added them this way, you got the same number. And I thought, this is really cool, I could do this. My dad was an accountant. He was a general manager of a rural electric co-op. So I was like my dad's shadow when I was a little girl. What growing up taught me, the way I grew up, is there was a sense of trust and a sense of people taking care of each other. Whether I'm on a sports field or out with friends or in a professional setting, that permeates every part of my life. Meeting all the different people, members from all across the country, their willingness to be open to change, recognizing that without change, the profession is likely not to remain relevant, has been just amazing. The services that CPAs are providing now are so varied and diverse that when I think about the core competencies of our profession, it's not representative of the profession to me as it once was. And I think we have to be aware of that, and we have to make provisions for those that want to step outside the core competencies to have avenues to do that. Our professionals, new and old alike, want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to engage and interact. They want their contribution to mean something. At the same time, we need to prepare CPAs for increasingly complex challenges, embracing new ways to build competencies. And incorporating old-fashioned mentoring, like my mom did for me, can help accomplish all of this. My experience most recently with young people was at the EDGE conference, and something about just walking in that room with about 150 future leaders of the profession was energizing. Respect the paths that your seniors have had to travel, but recognize today's marketplace and business demands will allow you a shorter path and much broader opportunities. They truly want to learn how to be leaders and do what it takes to not only learn it, but pass that along to people that they're training. If I could give some advice to a young person in trying to figure out their path or what they're passionate about, is to look at people that they admire and what they do and ask them about what they do. Perhaps even ask if they can shadow them, and ask even more questions throughout the day as to why is this, or how did you decide this? Why do you enjoy this? But just to experience that curiosity and not be afraid to ask the questions, especially with those people that they admire. I think leading by example is critical. Rather than trying to preach it, I think it's better to live it. Work really hard to maintain integrity and be authentically true to yourself. Putting yourself in another person's position is, I think, another great characteristic. Trying to understand why they think or why they feel the way they do. Trying to have an open mind about, is there a possibility that I would feel the same way if I were in that position, and what would change my mind about that? It's more about letting them have a voice to be heard. Being able to be authentic in your style and having the integrity of someone to trust you and know that you're going to do the right thing it's critical. No one's going to follow someone that doesn't have those characteristics, I don't believe. I was very fortunate to always work for partners or have partners that supported being involved in a professional association. 410,000 members. We have members from all walks of life. In all areas of practice, whether it's a large firm, small firm, business and industry. Joining the Institute provides a great framework for further developing your network. Not only just be a member, but to serve on a committee or a task force of some sort also helps develop those leadership skills and that confidence that it takes to move yourself forward in the profession and as an individual.
2 weeks ago, CIMA and the AICPA did something extraordinary and groundbreaking in that we launched the first ever truly global and universally applicable set of management accounting principles.
World Congress happens every 4 years. This time it was in Rome, Italy. So there were about 4,000 accountants from around the world. I had a chance to meet with the CPAs and CAs of New Zealand and Australia. They're working on the continuing education or the future of learning just as we are. I was able to work with their senior management and their leaders and seeing how we can leverage what some of the other ones are doing. There may be miles and miles between us, but there isn't that much space between some of the common issues that we have and our passion for the profession and what we do. My philosophy is to work really, really hard, make sure that there's a balance so that there's downtime, playtime. My definition of success is to work really hard in a career that I love and have that balance with great relationships with my friends and family. It's the best profession on earth. You walk into, as a CPA, an environment of being trusted, assumed to have integrity. You are a confidant. It's great to be able to help clients help themselves resolve problems or strategize as to what the next move might mean. Our clients and workplaces are evolving, becoming increasingly global. Businesses are entering new markets, discovering new customers and delivering new services. Through continuous analysis of trends and opportunities, our profession is well positioned to ride the winds of change. When on the paddleboard, there's a wide open body of water, and I can choose which path to take. I can paddle this way, I can paddle that way. I can choose to go into rougher waters, and if I go into the rougher waters, then I have to have a plan to navigate those. So it's much like life, and much like my journey throughout the profession. Choices, some of the things we have choices in what we do, and the things that we don't have choices in what we do, we figure out a way to navigate them.